Hey guys. Okay, we are going to do our paper party and we're playing with the new Saying Hey stamp set, which I really do love. Susan and I are using this for Monday for our stamp camp. And we're using it with the ephemera pack, the Something for Everyone ephemera pack. And those designs are really cute. And I'll sneak peek you some of those before the night is over because they're really, really cute. And then I wanted to use it for the paper party because I felt like it was a pretty good stamp set with enough different kinds of fonts and enough variety that I was like, yeah, I could go with everything. And I'm really pleased with how they turned out. And I think we did a good job. The only one I didn't use was the insert clever message here. I was on the brink on using it on one of them, and then I didn't. I did use it in the ones for Monday for the stamp camp. So I'll show you that and you can kind of see, what that would look like. We are going to use kind of a range of colors today. And I had told Carol one range of colors and then changed my mind completely, as is happens when you start crafting, right? You're like, oh, well, that was the idea. But I think I told Carol in enough time that she could bring her inks with her. So
You did. Thank you.
um, good. I'm so glad. I was conscious of that fact. So, we're going to use Petal Pink, Pretty Peacock, Blackberry Bliss, Moody Mauve, which I was surprised I used, Night of Navy, Coastal Cabana, and the new one, Petunia Pop. So we're going to use mainly older colors, one of the in colors from last year, and then one of the ones from this year. So, we're gonna, some of the card bases are some of the new in colors. And then the other thing I'll tell you is that I used a lot of templates. So I will do my best to help you identify which of the templates in the catalog I'm using, because there was a point where I like some of them I knew exactly how I wanted to design. And then sometimes I get kind of stuck. It's 11 the different cards, it's 11 different designs. You kind of have your moment where you're like, and so I was like, you know what, let me use some templates. And I might have riffed off of some templates too. But I'm going to grab my catalog. And those are on page 22, if you haven't seen those. And so I'll kind of tell you, I just number them 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll just tell you which one I used. These are really valuable when you have paper and you don't know what to do. And I don't know if I've told you guys before, but when I first started as a demonstrator, I was not very good at using designer series paper. I did not know how to use it. I did not know what to do with it. And now I feel like I'm better, but there's still opportunities, for learning and growth for sure. So, okay. So the card packet is in order that we're going to work. So we're going to start with the pink. And I've got all my paper packs here. And I've kind of got mine, I think, in order, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So let me put those. Okay. And then, of course, you need a clear block to go with your stamp set. And here we go. All right. So card number 1 is super cute. Lots of fun strips. So sometimes when I don't like a pattern, I use it a lot. So this is not my favorite paper. This is probably my least favorite paper of all of them. It's very busy. So sometimes when they're very busy, I find that if I just cut them into small pieces, they actually turn out better than I would have thought. And I do like the fact that when you do this, you can pull all the colors in, because there's some peach pie in here that seems a little out of place, but then it kind of connects in with some of the others. So anyway, so this is template number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Template number 9. I used 12 strips. They are 4 by a ½ inch. So that will tell you, see how close mine are to the edge. If you want them a little bit not as tight left and right, you might do 3 3/4, right? You get to decide what your strips are like. The other thing is I used 12 strips, and you can see that some are way overlapping. And so when I did mine, I um I wanted more overlap. I didn't want a gap or a space. But I know Sarah on our meeting the other night showed a card that she made with this template, and she actually had big spaces between her strips. So you can do this how you want, but let me grab my paper and I will. So what I did is I took my whole stack, so all 6 sheets, and I just cut a 1/2 inch off of all of them. And I did that twice. So you can just put it in your trimmer and you can just cut it and then cut it again. And I know this is wild, but I'm going to cut all my pieces all at the same time. Crazy times. And for the most part, that works. Maybe this last sheet, needs a little extra zippy zip. Maybe it needs an extra zip. I don't know. There we go. But for me, I think I have my Carl cutter, so I just cut it on the Carl. But if you could go 1 feet by at a time, or you could just knock them all out. But I just knocked them. And then if you use wet glue, what I like about this technique is it preserves a lot of paper to be used for other things, right? So like you get a lot of bang for your buck, but you still have a lot of usable paper that you could do anything else with, so, which is great. And then this paper uses all the new in colors. It's meant to be part of the whole new, in color situation. I love all the new in colors. And I'm not sure about peach pie yet. That's probably the only color I'm still a little like hesitant on. But I don't know that I love them all together. And I think that's my issue with this paper. So I'll just cut these. And then the sentiment, I'm going to leave the card here. The sentiment I stamped in Coastal Cabana and Petunia Pop. I didn't use Summer Splash, and I think the only reason I didn't is because it was like in a box somewhere. You could use Summer Splash if you want. I think Coastal Cabana looks just fine as well. So, but sometimes I get, there's pieces of my craft room end up in boxes, and I think it's packed for Monday's stamp camp somewhere. Although I think we're using Coastal Cabana too.
So Melissa, I've never tried until tonight putting 2 sheets or more in the paper trimmer. What's the max that you put in? Is it 2 or do you?
6 is about the max. I just did 6.
Oh my gosh. Whoa, I have 4 left. Maybe I'll try all 4. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I find that you have to kind of like zip it back and forth a couple times,
Okay.
but I
But it's
mean,
existed. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So when someone did that for the first time, she had a couple sheets, and I was like, you're cutting multiple sheets. And she was like, yeah, I do it all the time. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's wild. So for this stamping, you're going to want to stamp the hey, and then you're going to want to unmount your hey and then mount your I love you, because you want to tuck the I love you kind of up underneath the hey. I didn't use hay on every single one. I know some people don't love that. Hay is for horses, whatever. I can hear my mother, but it is really cute. So all I did for this is I kind of laid my strips out and said, okay, what patterns do I want with what? I kind of wanted the blues. They're pretty intense. So I spread those out considerably and then tried to kind of soften them, and then make sure you flip them over and get the B side of everything as well. These two are very similar in patterns, these kind of white background ones. So I tried to keep them a little separate too. I didn't want them too close together. And I'll do this one a little different. And let's see. Again, I really don't like that one, so I'll hide that one. And that's okay. The paper can't help it, right? It's not his fault. All right. So then kind of once you have them organized in the way that you do, then I just kind of like slide my paper off as the best I can. And then I'll come back and kind of glue them down. Okay, so I'm going to use Tombow. I did work kind of top to bottom. So, I mean, top, then bottom, then, I went back and forth. And some I centered, some I right justified, and some I left justified so that it does look super scattered, on the final card. And I just did one little line of glue. I mean, it's not going that far. Like, it doesn't have to be, again, you don't have to glue it down crazy. But I definitely overlapped. So this is a fun card when you have lots of extra strips or you've got you've got lots of strips left over from a project, maybe. We were talking about kind of different ways that this could be a useful card. And we all have those extra strips of paper that we, end up having left over from projects and stuff. So, or you could intentionally do it. I also think it's a fun card to like expose people to the end colors. Like I think it's a neat, it's a neat way to showcase all the fun colors.
Melissa,
Yeah,
since I don't have the stamp set, can I bring some of the sentiments Monday and are we going to be using your stamps?
we are. Yeah, I mean you totally can. Especially like maybe in the afternoon, like if you want to bring, I won't have these ink colors there, but if you want to bring the
Oh, well,
ink
I
and
don't care about, yeah, I can just do it in
okay,
black or whatever.
okay.
So
Yeah, that's
whatever.
fine. Mm-hmm.
We don't have to have the stamp set for the class for Monday, do we? We're going to be
No,
using yours. I mean, we can
yes.
use your, okay.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, so I'm gonna grab my stamps. Let's see. Okay, so and it's a really affordable stamp set. And if you find, if you find that you like it, it's definitely one that like I would say I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of it, even past, this class. Like I think it's a really nice stamp set. Um, So once you've glued your pieces down, then you can stamp your hay. And your I love you. So Petunia Pop and Coastal Cabana are the two. Coastal Cabana and Summer Slash are very, very similar. So, and then I like to just tuck that sentiment right up under that hay. I think it looks really cute there. And then I used some of the new shimmer in color. I tried to use a lot of the new embellishments that you guys got. So I tried to kind of mix it up. And on the PDF, I wrote which ones I used on each, and I've got the ink colors and stuff. The only thing I didn't do, I think well, no, I have measurements too for you guys. It's a pretty efficient PDF, that one is. So I think that you should be, good to go with all the measurements and stuff. If anything's missing or incorrect from it, let me know because then I can fix it and then I can resend it to everybody. because, you know, I'm human. And Pat the other day caught like 3 errors in the newsletter, which is why I resent it. So, all right. So we'll do some dimensionals. And then I just did 1, 2, 3. I did little, like 3 of the Petunia Pop little sparkle gems on here. And then I wanted to let you know actually Carol and I were talking about the cute little bag that I put the embellishments in. And so I'm going to show you guys where that came from and how to make it if you happen to have some of those bags in your supplies. We had those bags maybe a couple of years back, and I apparently bought them like they were going out of style. They must have been very, very cheap on the clearance rack is what I think it was. And so I had a bunch of them, and I wanted to be able to, some of the folks who come to this class, I mail the packet to. So I wanted to make sure that it, you know, laid flat. And so I wanted to show you that. And then I also felt like, but it felt like it was still like protective and it would protect all your ribbon, but it had enough room for the ribbon. So we had these, they were called mini shipping boxes, and they literally look like a tiny little Stampin' Up! Shipping box. They're super cute. And so these pieces would go down and it would make like a cute little shipping box. And so you could use it as like a little treat holder or something like that. I think we decided it held like some rolls of ribbon really well. Like it's a cute little box. And Frenchie, France Martin, who's she's a demonstrator. She had done this video, and how I got it down to this was actually she made it hold 6 note cards and envelopes, which is really wild. But you can actually fit 2 note cards and envelopes in this section, 2 in the middle section, and 2 in the front section. And so what you do is you take the box. If you ever get your hands on some of these, or if you might have some people who are watching, you just fold it, you squish it in half like this. And when you do that, it creates one of the like kind of mountain folds. And I'm going to do it on the other side. And I would use a bone folder for this for sure. And then you kind of fold it and you create a valley here. And then you create a valley on the other side. And so you basically make your own, like, you know, corrugated side, I guess. So that's what kind of creates that mountain valley mountain on the sides. And so then again, on this side, I've created a mountain. Now I'm just going to kind of meet these 2 in the middle. And I'm going to make a valley. And then the last one's, I think, the hardest actually. But you just kind of take it and fold it. And then there's 2 score lines. I'll send you guys a link to the video, but there's 2 score lines down here to be able to fold this up. And then she actually makes a cute little kind of topper for it, where this piece is kind of glued down, and then she actually covers it with a belly band so it doesn't say Stampin' Up. I wanted it to say Stampin' Up because I thought it was cute. But yes, I'll send you guys a link to the video. It's super cute. And if you ever get your hands on these, I have another 40 of them or so. So you might be seeing those again at some point in the future. All right, card number 1, not super, super hard, hopefully. But hopefully you like that one and think that one's cute. And I see on this one, like I did this like sentiment a little bit lower, than this one, but they both still look really cute. So, nice way to use up some DSP for sure. So, all right. So the next card is for the Country Woods, which I am very excited about. I have multiple packs of this. So I'll actually be using Country Woods for my card class next month. That is the Seaside Wishes. And the minute I saw this paper and I saw this kind of teal and pink, I knew like ocean, like of course, like driftwood and like, so this is actually template number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, template number 8. And I had to kind of play around in order to get these pieces to do what I wanted them to do size wise. So I'm going to, but I like this one too, because it's also a little conservative with the paper. So if you wanted the paper to last longer, you could. So the pieces here are 1.5 by 1 7/8, which is unfortunate, because no one wants to work in 7/8.
The directions on says 1 3/4 by
1 3/4. Okay. I would go, I mean,
Well, 7/8 and 3/4. Yeah, that's not much difference.
they're very close. And unfortunately, this piece looks like it's in between 7/8 and 3/4, which is even worse. So, because that's some 16ths that I definitely don't want to deal with. So, the good news is that you have some slack here, because when you're gluing these pieces down, you're going to glue these, you're going to glue these, and then it's not going to meet here in the middle. You're going to use this to cover up the fact that it does not meet here in the middle. So you have some slack on the height, which is good, because that's the piece that's not as exact and easy to get to numerically.
Could I say
So,
something?
yeah.
If you start gluing from the fold over, then when you get to the end, if it doesn't match, you just trim it off.
Yes, which would have been really smart. And I didn't do that when I made this one. So look, there's like a little bit of a gap. See my gap? And then I decided to cover my gap with ribbon so that you can't even tell. So the other solution is you can just throw some ribbon on top of it, right? Because that's always my
or throw a
yeah.
cinnamon or something.
So, all right. So 1.5. So I'm going to cut some more pieces. So you'll need 9 pieces. You can decide kind of which 9 you want, and kind of which ones you like the best. I think the blue is really pretty. I definitely knew I wanted one of the teal pieces. There's one that looks a little kind of sickly. It's kind of has a lot of yellow in it. That's not my favorite piece of wood. So that was not one that I wanted to feature. But I think I want one more. I need 2 more. So let me think through which ones I want to have. And maybe this dark one. That'll be nice. All right. Yeah, I thought this was an interesting, one because I'd never quite seen anything like this. I'd never seen, I don't know, I'd never seen a layout quite like this. So I was definitely intrigued by it all. I think, no. I'm like, no, don't like that. I'll make it do what I want it to do, but I might end up. Yeah, this is the piece I don't like. It has a lot of yellow in it, and I don't think it looks, I don't know, to me, it doesn't go with the rest of it. It almost looks like marble, which is weird.
That's what I used on my birdhouses.
Ah,
But the birdhouse was so big, it covered up most of it.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and this one kind of looks like my flooring, like some sort of birch flooring, but it's fine. All right, so once you have your pieces cut, I'm actually just going to leave those guys there because they're resting well. We have your packet has Misty Moonlight is the card base, and then you have a strip for the I'm So Glad You Exist. I made it longer than it needed to be so that you could trim it just in case I somehow cut the card bases wrong. I figured it's smarter to be a little bit longer than what you need than shorter than what you need. So Yes, Anita, I think it is smart to work from uh the bind out. So, and I'll probably kind of work on the bottom and then, and again, I think, Tombow probably the better choice just because you
Is it
can,
Melissa? Is it
yeah,
1 7/8 or just 7/8?
1 7/8
Okay, I got that. And by 1.5,
by 1.5. Yeah.
these are not fitting. Not sure why. Not fitting at all.
So they should be 1 7/8 narrow and 1.5, no, 1.5 wide. And I might have done a little bit of overlapping too, or I might have trimmed a little bit as well. It definitely looks like I trimmed a bit. So maybe it is 1 3/4. Yeah, it might be 1 3/4. Like I might have been right to begin with. It's better to be bigger than smaller, right? Okay, you're gonna stay there. And it looks like maybe 1 3/8, honestly, for the width. Like, I don't know. This one was a little more challenging, that's for sure. Just because those numbers aren't divisible by 3, right? Like 4 1/4 is not divisible by 3. And if you hate this one, it's okay. You can come back and do something different. This paper's pretty enough that I don't think that it'll be hard to figure out something fun to do with it. I wanted something a little bit more masculine, but then I threw the big bow on it, so then that kind of blew all the masculinity out of the water, but whatever. So, I mean, right now it looks pretty wild because there's like this giant gap and it looks uneven and stuff, but it's okay. Once we put this sentiment and kind of cover up that gap, then you hardly notice, any of the imperfections. So thank goodness. All right. I'm so glad you exist. And I just stamped this in Memento and black. You could definitely do it in like Misty Moonlight or Night of Navy or even Pool Party. You could do it in one of the, coordinating colors if you want. And I'm just going to stamp it in the middle of my strip. And then I'm going to glue my strip down and then I'm going to trim the edges. And then I'll just flip it over and do that. And I can see when I flip it over, I can see I'm a little bit over with a cup, like one of the other strips of paper. So I could just kind of trim that as well. Awesome. And then if I wanted to keep it more masculine, so now I don't have to hide this edge on this one because it's not, I didn't have the edge issue on this one. So I could add a more masculine thing. Like I could add the little this embellishment, which I didn't use, the textured dots. These are kind of masculine. And I think what I would do is I would put one here and one here. Kind of like cool little rivets. And what's neat is that each of them is going to look different because you're gonna have a different piece of the DSP, and there's a lot of variation in the DSP. So yay. Okay, card number 2. I'm gonna move on because we'll be here all day if I take that long for every one of them. Card number 3 is pretty easy. So we have our airplane paper, which is super cute. I did not have an appreciation for this paper until I made this card. This is one of I used the sketches as an inspiration point for this one. And I used sketch number, do I remember? Oh, the first one, sketch number 1. So we're using a thick white card base, and we're going to cut a piece of the blue. I like the blue. I think it provides some nice contrast. This is the one that has the map on it, on the other side, the green. And then we're going to use 2 of the smaller pieces. What I like about this is that you can get 2 out of a sheet, out of a cut across. So if you're being smart with your paper, then not sure why there's so many other pieces of this, but I just threw paper all over the floor. No big deal. So these are 3 by 4. So you can cut a 4-inch piece, and then you can get 2 out of them. So I like that you can, it's pretty conservative on the paper. And then this one, I decided to do happy birthday because I needed to do happy birthday, and it fits really well on the nested essentials piece. Right. So 4 by 5 1/4. Nothing crazy here. No crazy cuts. And then each of you got different pieces of like the tags and stuff. So there's like a sheet that has like a whole bunch of smaller designs, and I didn't use those because everybody got different pieces. My envelope ran away from me. All right. Okay. And so this one, I just laid all the pieces down flat. I stamped the sentiment in Night of Navy and popped it up with some dimensions. So this one's pretty clean and pretty easy. But I think it's really cute. And then I put one of the little rivets, the industrial trinkets, in the corner. These are not going to mail well at all. Even with the butterfly stamp, I think the post office is going to hate us. So use the industrial trinkets sparingly, and probably on cards that you're going to hand deliver. I got a card in the mail from someone the other day, and it had the wood elements from the paper pumpkin in March, and it was completely busted. Like, I mean, if we lift this up, like the mail carrier, like this whole piece is like broken here. And so I've never seen anything quite like this. She did not use a butterfly stamp, and that would definitely be, a good selling point for USPS to sell that butterfly stamp. So all I did with these two smaller pieces is I just did one. They're both cattywampus, so I did one way. So I kind of leaned the brown plaid to the left, and then I leaned the airplanes to the right. And then I kind of broke the cardinal rule and I put the sentiment on the left. We're supposed to work upper left to lower right. But I didn't want to block a certain plane, I think was what I was working around on the other one. So anyway, however you want to do it, you can do happy birthday. And I think that the fonts on this are pretty clean. Like, they don't have a ton of stylistic stuff. So I think they go with a bunch of different, designs and stuff. Really, the congrats and the thanks are the ones that have the most style to them. All right, we've got some dimensionals. And I put your industrial trinkets in a little Ziploc bag. Because I was concerned that they would get lost. And I think just a glue dot is probably the best way to put them, adhere them onto your project. All right, there we go. Okay, you guys with me? You doing good?
Yes.
Thumbs up?
Thanks.
Good, awesome. All right, so card number 4. So this is also a template, but I took it on like a vertical. I took basically the principle and I rotated it. So the principle of it is card number 4. So what you see on card number 4 is that they have a piece of something that's kind of right justified, and there's a border on the top and the bottom. And so they were this way, right? But I just rotated it. I love this paper. I would wallpaper my bathroom with it. I think it's really, really elegant. And I wanted to feature my favorite sheet of it, which is the one that has the really large flowers. You could do that one. You could do, it would work. This would work with a lot of these. You could do this one if you liked this one that has kind of more of the linen background to it. And it would look really pretty on here too.
Which template did you say you used?
Number 4.
Oh, number 4. Oh,
Yeah.
but you changed it.
Kind of,
Okay.
yeah, kind of cattywampus, right? Like on
Yeah.
its side. So,
Okay. Okay.
I had too many vertical cards, and so I decided to put a horizontal card. What I noticed was that all the templates are vertical, none of them are horizontal, which is kind of interesting. And so I hadn't noticed that before, but I did now. So,
Prob- Probably because of the way they printed it. They had to
yeah,
print.
I mean,
Yeah.
right. That's what fit, right? So, so let me pull up my paper party. I'm hoping I can find my PDF. Oh yeah, here we go. Well, that's actually not what I want. That's my old one. Okay, good. Okay. So this one, I just don't want to mess up the measurements. So 4.5 by 3.5. Yep. Which is really weird, but yep, that's it. And so 3.5. So I'm going to go 3.5 this way. And then 4.5. And I want to preserve this big flower. So 4.5. All right. And I still have some pretty paper to play with, so that's good. So this is the boho blue card base, and a little strip of moody mauve, and then we're gonna stamp in moody mauve. The other thing that this one features is it features the in color dots from 23 to 25, which is, I wasn't sure that I would like them. They're called opaque sparkle dots, and they're just sparkly enough that I like them. So these are kind of fun, and I used a couple of the moody mauve ones on here. So in this case, the flower was low, so I put my sentiment up high, but in this case, the flower is going to be a little bit high. So I'm probably going to put my sentiment low. So you can kind of work around your flower and where it's placed when you decide to put your sentiment down. I did pop both sentiments up on dimensionals. And I actually glued them together before I did that. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment in Moody Mauve. Mauve, as some people say. It's mauve. I think the only person that says mauve is Candy. She's so funny. All right, so I'm so glad you exist. And so I just put a little bit of glue on the top piece and just kind of stair-stepped these together. And then I put dimensionals on the back. And I kind of use the dimensionals to glue them together, kind of hold them together. I messed up. There's like a piece of ink here. So I'm going to put one here. Yep, there's the ink. I found it. It's on my thumb. Never fail. All right. Doing good. All right. So the next one is the lemons. There's some fussy cutting. I think I only did fussy cutting on two of them. It just happens to be the next two. Sorry. So, Mediterranean blooms. This is actually template number. Let me see if I can remember. Oh, yeah. So it's like a riff on template number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 20. So the second to the last one, it has two circles and a little like piece. And I was kind of riffing on that one. It's a loose riff, by the way, because it's definitely not anything like the actual template. But I was excited when I figured out that the sentiment fit this way on the Modern Oval Punch. So I love that the congrats fits like this. And this is by far, I mean, this paper's, it's just so pretty. It's really, really pretty. So you can pick which lemon you want to fussy cut, but we're going to cut a standard, I think I went tight on this one actually. So I went 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I went really, really tight on this border so that we got a lot of this large tile and not as much of this background. But if you want to be conservative with the paper, you can go standard 4 by 5 1/4. And then this one is 3 by 4 1/4. So you should have some double lemons, and then you should, oh, I got caught on my sister charm. I've never seen that before. Oh, wow, that's wild. So you should have some double lemons and some single lemons. So you can pick, which one you want to fussy cut. You have the dies, and I think they probably die cut this down. Maybe you don't even have to fussy cut. And then don't forget that you can use the partial lemons that are on the side. There's a really nice sample in the catalog that uses the side lemons as well. So just check that out because all is not lost with your partial lemons. The card base color on this one is Balmy Blue. And then you have that Modern Oval Punch. And then we stamped it in Night of Navy. So, put the regular card up so you can see that. Toggling back and forth. Fussy cutting fun. Or as Marianne says, fuzzy cutting. She still calls it fuzzy cutting. I heard someone else call it that the other day, though. Like maybe at retreat, someone at my retreat called it fuzzy cutting. And I was like, oh, that's funny. It's like, I thought that was just my kid that called it fuzzy cutting. It's a little fuzzy. And then while you guys are fuzzy cutting, I'll show you some of the samples for Monday because I think Anita, you're coming on Monday.
Yeah, right.
But I think some of the others are not, so I'll show some samples. So more uses for this stamp set, which is super cute. And don't feel like you have to go all the way between the flower and the leaf. I think you can leave a cloud in there, and I think it's perfectly okay. And then the embellishment for this one is the coordinating embellishment. Sometimes I went with the coordinating embellishment, sometimes I pick something different. But these are the opal rounds that come in their night of navy and a clear and then like a really pretty yellow. I think these are the ones that I will get more of immediately. They're gorgeous and I think they look really pretty on a variety of projects. So they definitely are not just for this project. Okay. So we've got our pieces here. And we're gonna stamp our sentiment. Get our little congrats. Got lots of graduations and stuff going on right now. So lots of opportunities to make congrats cards. So both thanks and congrats fit on the modern oval straight across like this. So I think that's really cool. And it gives you just a little bit of a different orientation that you can play with, when you're when you're trying to find something, trying to find a shape for a sentiment. This is a nice way. And then because you have the lemon kind of overlapping, it kind of eats up some of that white space. So. All right. On my blue, really pretty tile. And everything's glued flat except the lemon. The lemon I put up on dimensionals.
I just have to say, I really like this one, Melissa.
I really like this one too. This was one of my favorite. I think I have, it's this one. Okay, well, the duck was really cute too. This one, it's like this one and maybe the duck and maybe one other, but it's very close. Like, but yeah, this one I was like, oh, yes, yes, yes. I mean, this paper is drop dead gorgeous. So it's very hard to go wrong with this. But I very, very, very much like this one. So, the lemons are so fun. And I really like these jewels. They're just translucent enough and they like just enough color in them. They're really nice. So, okay. So while you guys are finishing that one, I'm going to show you some of the cards from our Monday class. So, for Monday for Stamp Camp, Susan and I both did 10 cards with the ephemera pack, and we used the stamp set. And so I wanted to show you that there's lots of ways to use this one. So like, I'm so glad you exist. You know, it's super cute. And you'll see these on our social media and stuff too. We'll post them later, but I just wanted to show you more ideas. The happy birthday you could put on a little tiny banner, super cute. You can do this. Hey, you know, I thought this one was nice. This is actually my favorite of the other ones. My Monday designs. Happy birthday, super cute. Hey, happy birthday. Hey, good looking. We're about to do another good looking. And so hopefully you'll think that this one's funny too. But I love when I saw the cowboy, I was like, oh, we're doing a hey, good looking for the cowboy for sure. There's hands down, no doubt. The congrats is super cute. There's lots of this ephemera pack has lots of like little cakes and cake pieces, and it fits well on a little divot. I used the same principle with that congrats, but I did the hexagon, the heartfelt hexagon, and I did the thanks across there. I thought that was fun. The hexagon fits the hay really well. I did do an insert clever message here because sometimes you just want a funny card to send a friend. And so I actually have a friend that I think will think this is funny and she'll enjoy this. And then I did the congrats, but I did it down at the bottom and kind of did, you know, a piece up at the top. So I just kind of wanted to show you the stamp set in a different format to show you what else you can do with it, right? And how it's pretty versatile. And I think it fits, you know, with lots of cool projects. So
Are we did you say those are the cards we're gonna make Monday?
that is the cards you're gonna make Monday.
Okay. Those
She's
are
like,
cute.
oh, okay. Now
Okay.
Susan has, yeah, so Susan has a set of designs as well. So you guys can pick which way you go. So our stamp camp usually has we do a different class in the morning and the afternoon. The morning is more like free choice. So we give you some inspiration and we give you the project, you know, we give you like the products. So we're using the ephemera pack this time. And then the afternoon, we're doing 5 technique cards that are pretty heavy hitters in terms of technique. And so those are probably more scripted. These we find that people kind of start and then they kind of go off on their own. You know, they'll start doing their own thing. So they might be like, oh, I like this design or I like this design. We focused on the in color cardstock as well with that. So, but all right, there's your very cute lemons. All right, so our hey, good looking, and I hope the song goes. But it's hey, good looking, what you got cooking, right? Please tell me you've heard that song before. If you haven't, I will play it for you. So the minute I saw the hey, good looking, and I saw this DSP, I knew I was making a card with groceries. So this card is fun. This paper is really fun. Marianne really loved the little, like, there's a couple of different kinds of bags in here, and there's one that's like the netted kind of market bag. And she thought that one was really, really cute. She loved the flowers and stuff too. I think the little vining cherry tomatoes are super cute too. So even if you use these a lot for the B side of each of them is very, very cute. So we're going to use the pumpkin pie polka dots, which the B side of it, or the A side, I guess, is this really rambunctious flower. And then we're going to use some vegetables. So you'll want some, who knows, maybe you want an onion. I don't know. Some tomatoes, a radish. No, I did carrots, lettuce, and tomatoes. You can fussy cut whatever you want. And then on my first one, I used the recycle, like kind of recycling tote. But maybe with this one, I'll do something different. I still want to use a shopping tote, but maybe I'll do a different one. Like maybe I'll do this floral one this time. The basket would be cute too. And then this one is template. I did do a template for this one. You'd be surprised. It's the last template. So a hardcore riff on the last template. But it's got basically, you know, two pieces and a strip in between them, kind of connecting them. So that's how I justified that. And then the measurement for the pumpkin pie piece is 4.5 by 3.25. One of the things I tried to do with this class is consciously cut the DSP a little bit different than I normally do. I'm normally pretty standard when it comes to the DSP pieces. Oh, I also gave you a piece of white for the inside of this one because I don't think there's any way you can write on the inside of Garden Green. Maybe I should have done that for Misty Moonlight one too. Sorry. But I tried to use cuts that were a little bit different. So maybe they were a little bit smaller or a little bit tighter. I just wanted to do a little bit of a different, look for this one. This is the one I use, the Blackberry Bliss, because that's like the main, accent color on this one. And you've got two strips of paper. You've got kind of a thicker one and a thinner one. The only thing, I popped up the vegetables and the good looking on dimensionals. I did the hay flat. This piece, you're going to want to stamp and then trim it. Both of them they're both too long, but I figured longer was better than shorter. Oh, I'm glad I picked this bag. It's actually really easy to cut out. So you guys probably remember, but when you're fussy cutting, you move the paper, not your scissors. So that's the secret sauce to fussy cutting. I think once I figured that out, then I liked it more. All right, so I got my lettuce. The good thing about the carrots is they're pretty well hidden, so you could actually not cut the bottom of the carrots and just kind of cut the top because you can hide the bottoms. So FYI, you don't have to go super detailed on that, which is nice. I kind of hid the carrots in the back. And then the tomatoes, the same thing goes for the tomatoes. You can kind of focus on the top couple of tomatoes and not worry about the bottoms as much. It's funny, I knew exactly what I wanted to do for this one. I wasn't sure what format. That's why the template helped, but I knew what sentiment I was gonna do. And I knew what I was gonna cut out. I just didn't know what, what layout I would use. So that's why I like the templates. For this one, I'm just gonna put a little bit of, I'm gonna use my dry glue, my Tombow, whatever snail, because I want to get my lettuce kind of how I want it, and then my carrots. Yeah, cool. And then I'll put a bunch of dimensionals on that. I'm using up all my partial dimensions. That's my goal. I did put a tiny one behind the little top of the carrots. All right, and then we're gonna stamp our pieces like that. Totally different card with the different bags, kind of funny. So the hay is a pretty big photopolymer stamp. So just make sure that you've got it inked really well and you hold it down for a second or two so that it fully, fully takes the ink and fully releases the ink. And then some of the sentiments are a little flexible. And so I like to put them down first and then kind of pick them up with my block. And so, all right, good. I think this one I can probably cut with scissors. I think this one I'm going to cut with my trimmer. All right. Nice. So then the hay can go down flat. And then the good looking is going to go on the top. I put a little bit of dimensionals under the left-hand side. And then just a little bit of glue on the right, and that kind of helps glue it down where I want it. Nice. All right, I think that's the end of our fussy cutting journey, so that's good, right?
There's one more.
Oh no, it's definitely not the end of our fussy cutting journey, but hopefully that one's cute enough that you'll power through. So, okay, good. So here we go. Next one. And again, I'm taping this, so if you've got to come back or if you put a pause in it, and you've got the PDF as well, so that's good. So that's not the next one in y'all's pack. So the next one in your pack is this one, which is actually this one. So so this was a fun fold that I had seen, and this is that country lace, right, Anita?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I thought this was a cool fold because it basically it has a solid card base. So you just have one piece as the card base, and then this is going to fold back. So then we open it like this. And so I like
Oh,
this. Yeah, because then you
I
can
went
kind of
ahead. I went ahead and made most of these this afternoon, but I could not, by looking at the picture of that one, I couldn't figure out how it
you were
worked.
like, I don't know what's happening here. So this was
Oh,
actually, I had gotten one like this in a swap and I really loved it and I saved it and I said, I'm gonna do this one. So you'll want to pick, I think you'll want to pick one of the papers that has the petal pink in it. So I think there's two sheets that have petal pink. So I'm gonna pick the other one so that I can make another one with you guys. So move my pieces over and I want to make sure I have the measurements right because I was a little off on my sample. So this is gonna be 10.5 by 4. So I'm gonna cut the 4. I'm gonna do the 4 first because it'll preserve a nice long piece of the DSP. I might use this on something else. And then 10.5. So normally they're 12. So that means I just have to cut off 1.5, right? Because that would be, yeah, so 1.5. And then we're going to score at 1 3/4 and 5 1/4. So what happens is this basically is folded in half, and then you have a little fold back panel that you can then mount on here. So I like this card because it shows both sides of the DSP. And there's sometimes when, you just love a DSP so much, you want to show both sides of it. I like it because sometimes with these larger, like these patterns that I don't really know what to do with, it's a good way for me to use them up. And so I think it looks nice. I'm going to stamp the hay in petal pink. So it's going to be like a tone on tone look. I wanted this to be a little bit softer. And I thought that was a really cool way to do that. So we're going to stamp petal pink on petal pink. And then the You Can Do This will stamp in Night of Navy. You can do this. All right. So we'll do hay first. And I think my hay needs to be re-inked. It's pretty light, but we'll find. Nice. That looks cute. And I'm stamping the You Can Do This right on top of it. There's a sample in the catalog like this. It's they use different colors. But I thought it was really cool that they just stamped the other sentiment right on top of this sentiment. So that is why we're doing this. I found a sample I liked. When I put this card together, I did glue this panel down. So I glued the back panel. And I just put a little bit of glue behind there just so that it would hold down. I just wanted it to be firm. And then this is your little inside piece. So. Just enough room to write something, nothing too crazy. And then if you want to wrap, this is the, I really like this ribbon. I used it on a couple of the cards. It's the Fun New Shimmer. It has a name. What is it? Iridescent striped trim. And I think it goes well with a lot of different papers. Like, I think it adds a little bit of flair to this project. So it's actually the ribbon that coordinates with the Full of Life suite, I believe. And so, but I think it's a really fun ribbon. So you'll want it to be on there pretty tight. So like I didn't get that tight enough. So now I have to figure out how to untie my knot at some point. That'll be fun. Next. I'll do that another day. But you do need that relatively tight on there because there's really not a whole lot to hold it down. I'll try. Well, Anita, I'm glad I could have a mystery for you.
I didn't see, you didn't have a picture of the inside.
I did
That's why-
not.
That's why I couldn't figure it out.
You're like, wait a second. Awesome. Yes, that I try to keep that PDF as short as possible. I think I've got a pretty good format for it. It's nice and tight. But this looks cute, and I think it looks cute in both patterns. Like I think that either one of these is really cute. I do really like the denim look of this. We used to have like a denim ribbon that I really liked. So I do like that, but I think it's also super cute in this version as well. So yeah, cute card. All right. Good. Next. All right. So this card, each of ours will look very, very different because this paper was really interesting. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun to divide it too, by the way. Not. No, it was fun. I could have not included it in y'all's paper share. But it is the paper on page 29. It's the frames and flowers. So it includes a bunch of these framed pieces and then a whole bunch of other frames. So I just wasn't, I felt like I wanted to include it. I think the colors are really fresh and fun. It does include peach pie, which is nice. I did use a card from the catalog as the inspiration for this, and I really only changed a few things. So the card I used as inspiration was on page 25. And all that I did different was I used the little flower for the dot because I thought that was cute. And we have a bunch of them. And then I added a couple extra pieces of greenery here just because I wanted to add a little bit more. And then this is stamped in Pretty Peacock. It's Lost Lagoon is the punched piece. And then I used Pretty Peacock as the ink. Because each of you got different frames, each of our projects will look very, very different, which is interesting. And you could choose to do a rounded piece. We all got different kinds of rounds, some squares, some other pieces. but these are nice. Like these will make gorgeous cards. They're just very different than probably what you're, what we're used to, I think. So this piece is not, this one's not a frame, and I don't think that this one is either. So I might end up using one of these. I just have to decide which one. So let's see. Mm,
All the ones that are loose like that, did they come out of the paper or did you cut those out
They,
or?
they were all laser cut. And so normally when
Oh,
I take DSP, I just take it on my Carl and I cut it,
yeah.
but I couldn't do that with this. So I had to like punch out each of these pieces and then I just like divided it. I was like, okay, you get a circle, you get a circle, you get
So
this,
when
you
you
get
buy it, you get it's a solid sheet of paper with all
it's
all these circles and stuff on it.
it's die cut, but yeah, I mean it's solid with air quotes around it, right? Like it was pretty well die cut. And it was like when I opened it, like things just started falling out, it's very
Oh, okay.
well die cutted.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's an interesting
I
it's an
like the
interesting
colors though. The colors
I
are pretty.
Yeah, I do too. I like the colors a lot. So, I think that it's different. It's very, very different than anything we've had before, for sure. Um, so you've got some pieces that you've even got like there's some corners. So there's like these really cute little corner pieces. There's some nice layering pieces. There's just some like little bouquets. There are some other kind of fancier corner pieces that have flowers. So everybody kind of got an interesting assortment. You definitely didn't get one of everything because there wasn't two of everything, which was weird. But like there was a lot of these like weird little, I don't know, like little buds or something. I don't know. They're kind of funny. So you can kind of, assess and look and see like what you want to use for your project. This one's going to be a little different than the other one because I don't have the same frame piece, but I'm still gonna do something. And I like this piece of DSP. Like I actually like the actual DSP that came with it too. I think this is really pretty. And we have that like plentiful plants set. Like we still are that plant, whatever that plant set is that we still have. I think that's really pretty. I think the back side, the B side of this is really pretty too. So the actual DSP in here is really pretty. Um, it's a little awkward when you're trying to divvy it, would not have been my first choice for divvying, but
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna add some greenery to this piece. Maybe not. Maybe like
Like they show in
that.
the catalog, it'll make good tags. They have a bunch of tags on page 29.
Yeah, definitely. So this is one choice. I don't know if I like this other choice that I'm down the rabbit hole with, mm. But all I did was I popped it up on dimensionals just to give it a little bit of, oomph. And I think it's- yeah. Um, I do really like this piece. There's a round one and a square one. Each of you got, I think, one either or. So you either got the one that has the round or you got the one that has the square. And I think this is super cute too. I mean, you could even double layer this and you could stamp the hay, right on here and you could make a really cool kind of double layered wreath or something. I think that's really neat. So There's definitely some neat options here. I like this one. It's just a little bit bigger than like a card front. But I might use that one for this one. And then just trim the edges. All right, so where's our pretty peacock? Here we go. And I think at this point I was getting tired of the hay, which is why I covered it with a tiny flower. So at least I covered the period part here. So, hay. All right, so this, put this up to dimensionals. And then, if I really wanted this to fit in an envelope, I could just trim these few. There's like two tiny little pieces that stick out. And that actually ended up trimming the little flower down, which I actually think is kind of cute. So he kind of hangs off the edge, but now he was trimmed off. So a couple different versions for that. It's definitely an interesting one. All right, so moving along. All right, so we're down to the 6x6 cardstocks, or DSPs. So this is a riff on the monthly meeting packet that we had this month. So it uses the petal pink, and then it uses the petunia pop ribbon. And then this is that modern oval, and I stamped on it and then I trimmed it. So it kind of makes like a little half moon shape, which is kind of cool. The measurement for this one, the DSP is 3 by 4 3/4. So go ahead and stamp my thanks. I think my nails are pretty peacock. Marion painted my nails last night. So. All right. So we got our piece here. You could use your trimmer to trim this off, because it does have a flat edge. So you could just put it in the trimmer and trim it. And that gets you a nice even cut. And then let's grab our DSP, which isn't here. Oh, here it is. All right. And I've used a lot of my DSP. I don't have a ton left that would match. I'm a little, maybe I'll use this one. I'm down to 3 sheets. Impressive. All right, so 4 3/4 by 3. Okay.
And I wasn't sure about that measurement.
That is a weird measurement, and that does not
It's
seem right.
wrong. Yeah, it's
It is.
wrong because it doesn't fill up the card.
You're right. It's 3.5. Yep. Uh-huh.
Well, it should be 3 3/4 by 4 3/4 in order to be that. I think that's what I,
It's 3.5 by 4 3/4. Yep. Because this piece is 3 and oh, I made this too big for you guys. This piece is supposed to be 3 3/4. So
but it works. I mean,
yeah.
I used it. It just had the sides were bigger than the top and bottom. It works.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. I'll make sure to resend this out to others so that so that you guys all have the right, measurements. 4 3/4. All right. Get this back in the file. Let's- Mhm. That's paper that I'm probably going to have lots of like little pieces left over that I'm going to end up using. All right, so you can glue this piece down. I'm going to move the card back in the camera. So this panel, then I like wrapped the ribbon around it and tied a bow. If Petunia Pop makes sense with the piece you pick, great. If it doesn't, you can pick a different ribbon. I'm not sure that it makes sense with this one now that I've got this. Mm. I'll try a few different ribbons and see. I might use basic beige with the one I just picked right now. This is a little more neutral. I do like the new ribbon. It ties really nice bows. It's very flexible and very easy to use. So, yay for an easy ribbon. Sometimes I don't know. I don't like it when I can't tie a bow. I want to be able to tie a bow pretty easily. So I like to tie the bow and get it where I want it, and then I like to adjust it so then I can kind of slide it along on the piece until I get it, where I want it, and then I can trim it and do everything else that I want to do. And then I just created a little channel for the sentiment. So I put some of the mini dimensionals on the top and the bottom and just made it easy to kind of wrap around the ribbon. And then I popped the whole panel up on dimensionals. You could just glue it down, but I don't think you need to. I like it. I think it looks a little bit nicer popped up. All right, we got 2 more cards left. We're doing good. This is always the wildest, longest card class ever, but it's still fun. I still like all the designs. All right, so there's my very neutral version. And then there's my very pink version. So you guys can see, right? Two very different looks. But all of the Cajun craze in here, I think, kind of draws out the neutral ribbon. So I think that looks nice there. So sorry for the bad measurement. I always make at least one mistake. Okay. So the next card is the Full of Life paper, which is beautiful. I did go all the way to the edge with this one too. So the background paper is why would it say that? Kind of on the bias. What? That is
I
like a
know,
weird,
I thought, what in the world?
what in the world? Okay, clearly that's not right.
No, I just cut it down the middle, kind of is what I did.
Yeah, definitely not correct. This is just, I mean, this is just a nice tight piece of paper. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 3/8. I have no idea why it says that. Huh, it's very bizarre. All right, well, paste. I will fix that. Um, you have the heartfelt hexagon punch, and then you have the glimmer paper. So you guys all got some of the glimmer paper, which I don't think I originally had said I would include, but I decided to include it. And I went ahead and cut out the friend for you on the foam. So I mounted it on the foam adhesive sheets. The reason that I sent it to you kind of whole like this is if you wanted to pop the eye out, there's a dot above the eye, you could do that. If you end up losing it or you don't make it, see how I just put the little iridescent rhinestone there as the top of the eye. So no worries there. So you can use whatever sheet you want from your designer series paper. This is a wild set of paper, but very fun. I like it a lot. Marion really likes this is actually, I think, her favorite sheet. I do think that the Starburst sheets, there's 3 of them. You know, I think one of those is probably the best choice for this. You could do the multicolored one. You're going to want to cut it so that it's kind of off-centered. So just trim one side off. So if we're going to go to 4 1/8, then I'm just going to trim more of this, green side off. And I can use that on something else. And then this will be 5 3/8. So 5 3/8. And I can use that for something, I'm sure. You have Petunia Pop is your card base. I might have seen the end of my Tombow. I might have gotten really close on this one. And the friend die is from the Full of Life set. So it coordinates with this. All right, so this one I've got going a little bit lower, but I'm okay with that too. Like either way, I think it's still incredibly cute. Okay. And I did this one in black just because there was enough other color going on, I think. And then I glued this down flat. And then I'm going to tell you with the friend die, be gentle. The foam does make it sturdier. So I'm making a swap for the team with this, and I'm using non-foam. I'm just using the adhesive sheets, and it's a lot more difficult to manipulate when it's just on the adhesive sheets. You can really bend all the words kind of out of shape, and you can get it's a lot sturdier on the foam. So I highly recommend if you're going to get this die set or you're going to use it a lot, to do it on the foam because it's actually pretty cool. So it's really messy though. Once you get it all exposed, it is sticky. And then just when you lay it down, start on one end and work your way toward the other end. So either start with the F and, kind of shape it back where you need to go. So for me, I started with the friend and then just kind of made sure that, it's still read correctly. The other day, the R looked like an N. I don't know. It was really weird. This embellishment is, I used that one on something. What did I use that one? I think I used, these are interesting. These are the adhesive back dots for days. And I think I used these on something, but I clearly don't remember what now. I have to look back and see. Oh, I just got adhesive on me. Where did I use that? Oh, no. I used on I forgot this one with the Hey Good Looking. We used the coordinating transparent adhesive back dots for here. So I forgot that that embellishment. And then I feel like I used this on something, but maybe I didn't. I really like these colors, these adhesive back dots for days. I think they're really fun. But what I used for this was actually the iridescent gems, which I'm not seeing. So as a nice substitute, we could use the adhesive metallic ones. And you could probably use one of these silver pieces, and I think it would go just fine. I'm just all about, I feel like the I has to be dotted on the friend. So there you go. There's two fun versions. Two different colors, two different schemes. So yay. All right. So last card. This is the one that I had the vision for. So these are the little duckies, and it's the I miss your face sentiment. So it fits really well on the circle. And we're going to stamp it in Pretty Peacock. We're going to fussy cut a couple of little ducks out, and then we're going to build the card itself. So the card base has been cut for you with the little flaps. So you're going to fold this over. Be careful with these side flaps. And we're actually going to glue those down. So you can, if you want to now even, you can put some glue on each of these two side pieces. When you lay them to the card base, just make sure that they line up with the edge. Like kind of manipulate them so that they go. And now this top piece should be just right. Okay. So we still got an open flap here, which is good. If you wanted to put a piece of white on the inside, sometimes that helps keep this open flap, you know, well open for the receiver so they understand that they're not supposed to pull these side panel pieces up. So you're going to grab, you need a piece that has a couple of the little ducks. And then I really like the duck that's kind of like looking at the face of the, like, I miss your face, right? And then you need one of the seam builder pieces. It could be a piece. I don't think this one will work because there's a lot of other little ducks on it. But this one works really well, the one that I used. And then I think there's one other one. I actually really like the ducks. I didn't think I was going to. It might not be. There's this one, which I don't know if that one will work either. All right, I don't know which one I'm using as my backup one, but I'll use this one. We'll make it work with the froggy. All right, so the cutting directions for this should be right, but we'll check. 5.5 by 4.25, so that's right. And you're going to trim 1 inch off either side. So you're going to trim this to 4.25. And 5.5. And then you're going to trim 1 inch panel on one side. And you're going to trim a 1 inch panel on the other side. So then when you've got your card, you're just going to glue your pieces back where they belong. So this panel will go down on this one. And then this panel will go here on this edge. And then this panel will go in the middle. So it's almost like, I mean, like these cuts, you can barely see them, right? Which is kind of cool. So that'll go there. And then I'm going to cut the 2 little ducks out, and I'm probably going to put them on the lily pad with the frog, even though I know that's not realistically possible. It'd be one big lily pad to hold these guys up, but it's okay. So I did cut out each of the ducks separately just so that I had some control over, you know, where I put them. And then I did have the sentiment kind of hang over the edge. And I did use those really nice dots that I like, the opal rounds. I used the clear ones because I thought they looked like little, you know, water droplets or whatever. So it's between this one and the lemon one as to which one's my favorite. All right, so Anita, tell me, which one was your favorite card?
Well, actually, the little ducks were kind of cute.
They are really cute. I really like them.
Well, I don't know which one was my favorite.
Carol, how about you?
I'm looking back through.
Yeah, that's good.
I like to do this because it pushes me. I would never do some of these designs on my own, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think I think that I like to do it too because it pushes me too, right? Like I
yeah.
don't know that I ever would have gotten the duck paper and been like, "Oh, I really like the ducks," you know? When I first saw them, I thought they were hideous. And someone said that they were like, "Yeah, they reminded me of like, oh, Susan said they look like decoy ducks, you know?" And now that I've played with them, I'm like, "Oh, but they're so cute."
Well, and look what I did with the duck. I cut out the little baby ducks and put them in the water.
There you go. So
And then
cute.
on the inside, I put along the bottom, I had the paper that with a little strip of
The little grass.
the grass paper. Yeah.
I love that. Elena, which one's your favorite? The lemons still?
Yeah.
Yep, she says.
I
Yep.
really like this duck one. I liked them all. I thought they were all very good. I thought they
Yeah.
were really nice, different layouts and different. Did a couple folds in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
was
really
feeling
like. I overall really loved it.
good. I'm glad. Carol, what was your favorite in the end?
Probably the lemons, only because that's the one that I ordered. The one, and then if it weren't for that, I actually do like the one that we just did, the
The little
friend.
ducks.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
the one before, the one that's the starburst
Oh,
colors.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I think this is really cheerful. This is probably like card number 3 for me. So like this, the lemons, the ducks. But yeah, like you said, Anita, right? Like this gets us to work in ways that like we probably wouldn't, you know? Okay, so I
Right.
actually think I'm gonna have the duck be friends with the frog. I'm gonna set this other duck away and he is gonna be friends with this guy, and that is what's gonna make this one cute. So good. I'm glad. I think that this was a exceptionally cute pack of paper. I think that there was
Mhm.
a lot of fun, I think there's a lot of fun designs in here. I think that and I love doing this class because it stretches me too. And it gets me exposure to all the different embellishments and all the different ribbons, and it helps me to make, really informed choices. Um, yeah.
I
So
wasn't expecting the card class with the paper share because I've done paper share with a couple of other demonstrators, in past years, but all they do is send you the paper.
So you seem shocked when I told you about that. And
Yeah.
I saw it on your face. It was so funny. And I started doing it a couple of years ago, and then I stopped because I don't know what it was. I think I was making it too hard. I think I was making the designs too hard, and therefore the prep was really hard, and I wasn't feeling it. And so I stopped doing the paper party. But Karina Chin, she's a demo in Canada, she does it, and when I heard about the idea, I thought, I really like that because we can do a little bit of education around the paper. We can make sure that people actually cut and use their paper, which I think is really important. Okay, so here's my duck who's friends with the froggy. Isn't he cute?
Oh, that's cute.
He's
Yeah.
so cute. All right.
Oh.
I like that I didn't force my 2 ducks on here. So, all right, I'm going to stop the recording. So everyone else who's joining later can view it.